For decades, our understanding of nutrition has relied on a mechanical analogy. We treated the human body like a combustion engine, where food was simply the fuel shoveled into a furnace to keep the system running. This approach is visible on every standard nutrition label. We tally isolated, static ingredients, calories, fats, and carbohydrates, and assign them percentages based on an imaginary, identical average human body. But these labels have a specific limitation. They document components in total isolation, which ignores how multiple additives interact with one another once they are combined inside a complex food matrix. This model often fails when applied to real people. Feed the same carbohydrate to two different individuals, and one might experience a sharp glucose spike and sluggish recovery, while the other system barely registers a fluctuation. Cataloging what sits physically inside a piece of food does not predict the biological outcome. It tells us nothing about how that food will behave once it enters a specific, highly individualized system. To understand that behavior, we are looking past the chemistry and viewing human biology as a continuous, measurable bioelectric network. This diagram maps that network, showing a direct line of communication from the resting voltage of a gut cell membrane up to the brain. If your tissues are hardware, these electrical impulses are the software, providing active instructions that tell cells how to behave. Biologist Dr. Michael Levin demonstrated the power of this software using planarian flatworms. His lab proved that these electrical instructions can be overridden to change the body's physical form. By altering a worm's electrical voltage, researchers instructed the cells to build an entirely different structure. The tail end grew a second, functioning head. These images show the result. Even when these two-headed worms were later cut in half naturally, they continued to regenerate two heads. The biological hardware had stored a new electrical memory. Cellular health relies on this bioelectric cohesion. When the network is stable, cells work toward a large-scale purpose. But when these signals fracture, cells lose their connection to the collective and revert to chaotic, disease states. This brings us back to our diet. Under this framework, food is the primary code to upload information to our bioelectric network. Through the bioelectric bridge, a defined food compound docks with a cellular receptor. This shifts the resting membrane potential of the gut lining. The signal then travels up the vagus nerve to the brain, triggering a transition in the host's overall state. The body adjusts its baseline in real time, visible through shifting metabolic markers like glycemic excursions or inflammatory responses. Food is not passive fuel. It is active biophysical information that alters our internal operating system as it is consumed. If food functions as biological code, then measuring only its composition leaves the most important variables unaddressed. Moving forward requires a system that prioritizes physiological coherence over static ingredients. We begin with the Body Coherence Index. This provides a measurable snapshot of an individual's current regulatory state before they eat. This dashboard shows the biomarkers required to map that state. It tracks continuous glucose curves alongside inflammatory cytokines like hsCRP, a protein that rises at the first sign of systemic stress. This is paired with the Food Coherence Index, which predicts the specific physiological load a food will place on that individual's unique baseline. These mid-century products represent a legacy era. For decades, we relied on generic food categories. I consumed processed goods while remaining blind to the physiological feedback they triggered. This progression illustrates the new standard. A coherence-based system validates food by its measurable trajectory, from the substance ingested to the actual biological repair it supports within the host. The future of health relies on the coherence between the code we consume and the bioelectric hardware we inhabit.